And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have another great simple salad recipe for you. This is a roasted root vegetable salad with beets, these beautiful watermelon radishes, and feta cheese. So very, very simple. Again, we're going for something easy and delicious, and let's show you what we're going to be using for our ingredients. So we have these beautiful little beets. These are some nice local beets. This amazing watermelon radish. You can see it's got the green outside and the bright red inside. Some nice feta cheese. We're going to be using some pumpkin seeds, some pepitas. We just have some regular spring mix, store-bought regular spring mix here. We're going to be using a little bit of olive oil and some vinegar. Now to get things started, first thing we're going to do is we want to roast our pumpkin seeds. Now we get ours raw, so we're just going to pop those into the oven for a little while and get them nice and toasty. And really how toasty you like them is entirely up to you. So first thing we're going to do with our root veg, we are going to start getting the radish prepared. So what we're going to do is peel it first. So we've got it cut in half, and we're just going to peel it and get some of that skin off. Now, these watermelon radishes are quite, the skin is quite fibrous. It's quite tough. It's actually a little bit hard to peel. So it's going to take a little bit of work. It's not super easy, but it's really, really important that you get this off because you don't want those little bits of peel in your salad. They're not easy to chew. Once they're peeled, we're just going to cut these up. So you can take as much skin as you like off. Just make sure you're pretty much down to the meat here. And we are going to cut that. This one we're cutting into 10, oddly, but you can do whatever size you like. You want to keep them in a roughly even size. And you want to make sure that they're going to be about the same size as the beets are going to be using. So those will go into the bowl. And the next thing we're going to do is take care of our beets. So again, we're just going to cut the tops and the roots off of these. And just like we did with the radishes, we are going to peel them. And we find that the easiest way to do it is just in this one sort of long continuous spiral strip. It goes pretty quick. Then once you've got your beets nicely peeled and all of the skin is off. Now you remember we did a beet salad previously where we used whole beets. And the way we did it in that one was we roasted them and then in salt and then sort of degloved them. But these ones were peeling before we roast them. And these ones we're going to cut into a more traditional sort of 8 instead of the 10 we used for the radish. And we're just going to pop those into the bowl with the radishes. And once you have everything chopped up, we are going to add a little bit of oil. And we're just going to toss that, make sure everything's got a good coating of the oil because we want to roast these. So before they hit the heat, we're just going to give it a little bit of oil, a good sprinkling of some fresh ground black pepper. And we're going to give it a good dash of salt as well. So just give it a good sprinkle of salt. We're using kosher salt for this. Give it another little toss, make sure it's all well coated. And then you're going to put that in your parchment-lined baking sheet. Make sure it all has a fair amount of room. And we're just going to pop that in the oven. And of course, the temperatures are going to be in the description below. So you see the beet was a little bit smaller than the radish, which is why we cut the radish into 10 and the beet into 8, so that they're still roughly the same size. That's going to go near the top of a preheated oven. And then we're going to wait until those are cooked. We're going to take those out. And you can see here they have really darkened a little bit. The beets have darkened. You can see them sizzling a little on that pan. Now they're still a little bit hard, which is where we like them. If you like them softer, you can cook them for a little longer. Remember, they will carry over a little bit once you take them out of the oven. But if you do want them a little bit softer, it's okay to leave them in for a little bit longer. We were just about happy where they were there. So while those are cooling a little bit, we're going to break up the feta cheese. So this is really just the garnish on top of the salad. So you just want to make sure it's a little bit fluffy. It's not in big lumps. A fork is perfect for this. And we're also going to use a little bit of fresh thyme. So we're just going to peel some thyme leaves off of the stems. We had some fresh thyme on hand. You could also use oregano or basil for this. We're just going to give that a little chop. Now what the thyme does, what we're going to do now is make the dressing for the salad. And the thyme sort of helps everything stay emulsified in the bowl. So what we're going to do is put the thyme in the bowl, followed by our vinegar. And then we're going to pop our oil in there. So that's our olive oil. And then we're going to take our whisk and we are going to just make a really quick little emulsion in the bowl here. And then we're going to toss the greens in there. So you can see here Chef Caleb is just giving it a very quick whisk together. It doesn't take very long. And as soon as you get to this consistency, that's it. You're ready to go. And the thyme will help it hold the emulsification, and it will help it sort of stay together as a dressing. So for here, we're going to toss in our greens. So again, we just had this nice box of spring mix. We're just going to throw that in. So this is typically spinach, radicchio, frisee. There's some what might be chard in there. Sometimes some bib or green leaf lettuce. And then we're just going to toss that in our dressing that we made in the bowl until it's nicely coated. And you're going to get that nice flavor from the thyme. You're going to get the oil and vinegar in there as well. Now, we didn't use a whole lot of vinegar. We didn't want this to be extremely sour because this is not a particularly bitter green. If you're using a more bitter green like kale or arugula, you might want to use more vinegar. A little dash of salt in there just to wake up all the flavors in the salad. Again, a little dash of black pepper. A last little stir. We're going to toss in the pumpkin seeds that we've taken out of the oven. You can see they're a little toasty in there now. And then we're just going to plate it. This is ready to go. So we like to plate this on individual per person. We're just going to toss that onto a plate here. Top with a little bit of the roasted root vegetables. So you can see those beets and that beautiful watermelon radish. And, I mean, the amount you use is really going to depend on everyone's appetite and how many people you're serving. Whether it's supposed to be more of a meal salad or sort of an appetizer salad. On top of that, just a little bit of that amazing feta cheese. Another quick little crack of black pepper. And then any presentation points that you like after that, but that's it. That's the whole thing. This is an amazing salad. It goes great as a side dish with lots of different kinds of things. If you make it large enough, it can be a meal all in its own. You can replace that spring mix with any kind of green. You can use quite bitter greens, and you might want to, as I said earlier, toss up the vinegar, make the dressing a little more sour, and that's it. So if you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe, and if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.